Hello and welcome to another episode of the DTF podcast here on the Field of 68 Media Network. My name is Rob Dawser. I have Terrence Oglesby here with me, who's about to embark on his one of the most impressive and tiring media tours that I think we've seen in a long time. T.O.'s got 17 flights in the course of the next 4 days, so he's going to be everywhere. He's got 3 games a day that he's going to be broadcasting. We got some studio work. We got some after dark stuff. My man is he's getting those Hilton points, he's getting those Marriott points, and he's getting those Delta points coming up here.
Yeah, no kidding. Actually, American, because I'm telling you, I'm flying out of Charlotte just so I can make everything work. No, hey, look, 8 games, 9 days, or 8 assignments in 9 days. I feel like John Fanta damn near. That makes me happy. The reward for good work is more work, or at least a couple of people have told me that, which may or may not be true. But excited to get going. It's been a nuts preparation. Started on Friday, going Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we are kicking and ready to go. I'm a little disappointed, though, because, Fanta, I think I was supposed to have that game with you there tonight, and I was not able to attend. But, Pat Scary, you're going to have a ball.
Yeah, I was going to say, you see Fanta right now is sitting in Northeastern's arena in Boston. We just had part of the reason we're starting a little bit late here is because Pat Scary decided to come over and pretend like he was a podcaster, Fanta. We got to Pat, go coach ball, man. Go coach ball. Let us podcasters, let us professionals here, let us stars in the making like John Fanta. Tio, did you have any features written about you today?
No, not one. Not one today.
Not one. I'm going to have to text Seth Davis, man. This is ridiculous.
It was a great article, though. Great article.
Thank you.
And you deserve it, man. You deserve it. You
you.
work,
Thank
and
you.
it's
So
incredible.
do you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
Hold on. Look.
That's why we do what we do, right?
We
don't
love,
do it.
we love
that,
Fanta here, right? We love Fanta here, but I think in this podcast we need to have this podcast be where we make sure we're the ego check. All right.
So absolutely not.
Go ahead, Fanta. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, listen. I appreciate that. And grateful, and wouldn't be what it is without you guys and working with you and doing this show. And you don't do it for that reason. We love the players and the coaches. I mean, here in real time, Towson star Tyler Tejada comes up and says hello. He's a stud. He's a bucket, and that's why we do it. For the coach relationships, for our player relationships, to see these guys flourish and thrive, and it's a pleasure to be with you guys every single Monday or Tuesday, and whenever we do it. This is fun, man. That feature. I appreciate Alex Squadron, who shout out to him. He's a terrific writer. He's doing a very nice job over at Hoops HQ. And I give Seth Davis credit for starting up that site. We support other media just like they've supported us. So it's a pleasure to get that. I'm very humble about it, but you can't, as Rob and T.O., you both know, we can't do this without the support of our family. So that's why whenever somebody asks me who they should talk to, I tell them, well, the people behind the scenes who make it all work. So just really grateful and blessed. And, this is not a cubicle. The gym is my cubicle. So I love the fact that we get to be in a different arena every single day, covering this sport that we love on that journey to San Antonio. And fellas, I'm so excited about what we got the rest of the season. I think we have an opportunity the next couple of months to have an incredible journey to get into that bracket. I think the country has several championship caliber teams, just a matter of who's going to step up. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Let's talk about one of those championship caliber teams here, because the way this is going to be structured, I have 7 overreactions. We're going to have 5 to 6 minutes to determine whether these overreactions are overreactions, proper reactions, or just me being a trolling engagement farmer, as people.
The last one.
All right. So let's start with this. Houston goes into Flagg Fieldhouse on Saturday. Comes back from down 6 with 75 seconds left in regulation, right? Thanks to a 5-second call and thanks to Zeke Mayo turning the ball over, goes to overtime. Kansas is up 79-73 with 13 seconds on the clock, and DeJuan Harris shooting 2 free throws. Misses them both. Emmanuel Sharp hits a 3, turnover. Malik Wilson hits a 3. Go to double overtime. Flory Bidunga fouls out, and Houston ends up winning in the fog. Here's my biggest takeaway, T.O., and tell me if you think I'm right or wrong. I think Houston has found a closer in Juwan Roberts, and Milos Uzan. And I thought that the way that they played down the stretch was about as well as you could ask for two veterans. A veteran in Juwan Roberts and a new point guard in Milos Uzan.
Is the hot take that they found closers?
Yeah, they found their closers.
I don't know that that's a hot take. I just think we haven't watched Houston enough. Me included. Like, I haven't watched Houston enough. I've been wrapped up and watching everything. However, Houston does not get enough credit for how good they are, and Kelvin Sampson and what he's capable of putting on the floor. And what I love about all those guys, Juwan Robinson and Milos Uzan, like, he makes you great at what you're already really freaking good at. And he doesn't let you splay further than just that. Like, Juwan Roberts, like, some people would be like, oh, he's 6'8", he's 235. Like, we need him to step out to the perimeter or something. He didn't take a three, 10 to 21, and he attacked Kansas's bigs. Like, that's big-time stuff. 4 of 9 from the free throw line, man can't throw it in the ocean. However, he was a beast inside, and that's what they needed on that particular day, and that's where Kelvin Sampson's going to put him. Uzan, like, here's the deal with him. Like, as he's been here longer and longer and longer, you've seen him get more comfortable with what Houston wants him to do and what Houston wants him to be. And now you're starting to see the culmination of all that work and all of that molding and tinkering that Kelvin Sampson does. It ends up with 17 points, 9 assists, and 9 boards at the foul. That's insane. And you just kind of see the cumulative effect of playing for Kelvin Sampson over the course of, 20 games now? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and
not an overreaction whatsoever.
And two things, Fanta, then I'll throw it to you. One, credit to Kelvin and Kellen and that staff. They've kind of tweaked what they've done. Instead of trying to fit Milos Uzan into the Jamal Shed offense, they've re-tinkered some things to kind of let Uzan thrive on his own. And what they do down the stretch now is they basically space the floor, get Cryer on one side, Sharp on the other, and put Juwan Roberts and Uzan in a ball screen and say, Milos, if you can get to your right hand, go hit that little float in the lane. If you can't, hit Juwan Roberts on that short roll. He's going to catch the ball 18 feet away from the basket. He's going to take one dribble to his left hand. He's going to throw his shoulder into you. He's going to get some space. He's going to put that little – I don't know if it's a jump hook, if it's a floater, if it's a jump shot, or whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about. You guys have all seen that shot.
Jump push hook.
Yeah, a jump push hook off the backboard, and he's not going to miss it, and he's going to do what he did on Saturday and score 26 points and be unstoppable. I love everything about the Houston program, and credit to Juwan Roberts. That dude stayed at Houston for a 6th year. We know how much big men were getting on the open market in the transfer portal. That dude went nowhere. He stayed at Houston. You got to love that. You got to respect that.
Yes, and Juwan Roberts, he put his big boy pants on after a tough start to the game and was huge down the stretch in this game. It also should get brought up that in this game, when Houston looked like they were heading sideways, Malik Wilson came up huge for them. Malik Wilson set the tone of the second half to that 13-0 run that Houston had. It was Wilson who stepped up. And this is a guy, he's a 5th-year guy. He transferred in from Texas Tech, started his career for the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Not a great scorer, but he really helped them stay in the game. As for finding their closer, well, they could feed Roberts, and he hits tough shots. Like, it's not just traditional post-up. He hits difficult shots from difficult angles. He had one finish over Dickinson in overtime on Saturday that I was like, I don't even know what to say about that. And he beat Hunter Dickinson. I mean, Hunter Dickinson was overwhelmed trying to defend him. He really was, guys. And then you couple that with, here's my thought. If I had told you before the game that Emmanuel Sharp and LJ Cryer would shoot a combined 4 for 20 at Allen Fieldhouse, we all would have said, well, Houston got blown out. If Cryer and Sharp are that poor, Houston probably lost. They shot 4 for 20 in the game. But let's get the name right. Milos Uzan. They do use the U. It's in the pronunciation guide, and I heard Fran Fraschilla bring it up on Saturday. No. They were terrific. I think you could both say that Houston's found a closer, a set of closers, while also saying this. That is the most stunning loss in Bill Self's career.
No doubt.
It is the most stunning loss I've seen maybe ever in a regular season game. I can't remember a team being up by 6 points in a building like that and losing the game. And they not only they didn't do it once. Everybody's forgetting. In regulation, they had the game won. So that is a loss that sticks with you. It just is. I am really curious off that game. Houston, I love. I think they're a top 5 or 6 team in the country. and they scheduled well and benefited from it. But if you're Kansas, that one really sticks. And for me, like, I know that they got good production out of Bidunga, and I know that they got a great shot-making day out of Griffin. The fact is, though, Griffin hasn't done that every game. Kansas, to me, they're just a Sweet 16 team. That's just what they are.
I think I tend to agree. And this is a perfect segue into the Kansas overreaction that I wanted to hit you guys on. So I'm going to jump this up to the top. I think Kansas is going to be better this year by working Rylan Griffin in for whatever minutes you want to play him at the 3, right? Get him as the big wing that you have and use Flory Bidunga at the 4, Fanta. And I think that's because, one, Flory is a better fit next to Hunter. He's a better finisher around the rim. He's a better shot blocker. He's more athletic. I think he's a better rebounder. And I think that it allows Hunter to do more of the high post stuff as the passer and let Bidunga be the finisher around the basket. And it's also just a different kind of player that you're going to get in a different look. And maybe I'm just saying that because they won a couple games and they've looked better with Flory there without KJ. And maybe KJ comes back and he's the same thing. I just think that they're better betting on Rylan Griffin and Flory Bidunga than trying to convince AJ Storr that he is a basketball player that fits into what Bill Self wants. Is that an overreaction?
You asking me? You asking Fanta?
Hey, I was going to go Fanta first, but whoever wants to take it.
I think who was it? Mike said it the other day on After Dark. Like, Hunter's always played with another big.
Mm-hmm.
He's always played with another bigs, and I just think that's where he's most comfortable. He's wanted to step out a little bit. He's used to a high-low game. That's where you're going to see the best version of Hunter. I'm not sure that's where you're going to see Kansas make a Final Four. Which is two wildly separate things. You have to. Do you want a best Hunter or do you want a best chance at a Final Four? You got to have shooting on the floor. That's just how college basketball is played right now. Got to have shooting on the floor. I do appreciate the fact that you put those two bigs together. You can get really big and really physical really fast. And we know over the past X amount of years that physicality wins in the NCAA tournament. So you're going to be able to beat some teams. I just don't know that you shoot it well enough. And look, DeJuan Harris misses a couple free throws. Like, I'm willing to live with whatever that dude does. Like, if he misses a couple free throws, he's earned enough to where it's like, okay, fine. DeJuan Harris, one chance in his career, misses. I think he's only missed back-to-back free throws twice in his career, and that was one of them.
The 80-1 stat. How about the 80-1 stat? You know, that they were since 2018, they were 80-1 when leading at the half inside that building. I mean, it's just now
it's
80.
Insane. Yeah, you're willing to live. You're willing to live with a mistake by him. But the thing is how do you lose 6 points? That's tough. And we were really fired up
twice.
Yeah, we
were
were really
by 6 with a minute left in regulation. Like, that's the part that get like you mess it up, and you come back and you mess it up again. Like, that's tough. I feel for Zeke Mayo, man. He made a couple mistakes on the stretch.
Mess up twice. Shame on me, I guess. I don't know. That is brutal. Brutal.
Vanna?
I mean, the other thing is this: you let Houston shoot 48%. They could have put the game away when they went up by 10 if they had just defended it all. But what happened is, this is what you can't do against Houston, and so many teams do it. So it's easier said than done. But Houston tries to put you in the meat grinder. You can't let your offensive droughts against Houston affect how you defend them. And Kansas did. And Kansas got into trading buckets at one time. I actually was surprised that Houston was able to score the way they did. I think that's the biggest revealing factor. Houston scored 92. Now, the game went to double overtime. But in the second OT, they hit some huge threes. That's different from Houston. This game is a best-case scenario for the Cougars to win there and to be like, look, we got to win a game that's offensively oriented, fellas. Let's go. And they did. But I agree with you. I mean, Griffin's got to be there, and Bidunga's got to be on the floor. Bidunga, to me, is too talented. He's too talented to have off the floor. But overall, the problem with Kansas is, as talented as Bidunga is, that team defensively, Harris is a little bit undersized. He tries. He works his butt off. He really does. But they're not a great defensive team. And the bigger thing is, how does AJ Storr go from one of the best players in the Big Ten to a no-impact guy on this team? It's unbelievable to me. I mean, that just did not pan out. Storr is a disaster.
I'll say this about Storr. I think that, and I don't want to like just keep beating a dead horse here because I feel like I've said this before, but I think that he was the wrong stylistic fit. He's a guy that's like a tough shot maker, not really a shooter, not really a get into the lane and get fouled guy. Like he's a tough shot maker. And I don't know if that was necessarily the right fit stylistically and from a personality perspective for Kansas. And to me, he is a good cautionary tale for making sure that when you are doing this the recruiting in the portal, you got to make sure that you are checking your P's. What is it? Dotting your T's and crossing your I's, right? Checking your Q's and P's, whatever it is.
Dude, hold on. First of all, you don't cross I's and you don't dot T's.
Then what's this, T.O.?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got it backwards.
Yeah. Either way, whatever that saying is, it's making sure that you do your due diligence to make sure it's the right fit, because there is a lot of money on the line and you're going to have to make really quick decisions when it comes to recruiting the portal. So
Rob Doster, big on crossing I's, dotting T's, kissing hands and shaking babies.
There you go, kissing shaking babies. All right, let's move on. Let's talk some SEC hoops. I was down in Auburn for the Auburn-Tennessee game, which was probably the most entertaining rock fight I've ever seen in my entire life. That place was electric. Neville Arena is awesome.
The
it's
jungle.
Incredible that Bruce Pearl has turned Auburn into a full-blooded basketball school, man. Like they care about football, but like the level of let's just say basketball knowledge that the fans that I met down there have, like they are all in. And I don't know if that's just SEC programs love their school or what, but I was really, really, really impressed with that fan base. I had a great time down there. Shout out to JoJo and Vince too, who do our Auburn
awesome.
pod, who jumped on and like we put them in a tough spot, like making picks that they didn't know they were going to have to make, and I thought that they thrived. But here's my take on Auburn, right? I know that they won this game, but I kind of feel like, and maybe it's just they're getting Johni Broome back and they're starting to figure some things out, but I think the field has caught up a little bit to Auburn here, Tio. I think that Duke is better than they were at the start of the year, and Duke already has a win over Auburn. I think that Houston has kind of figured some things out, whereas I think Auburn came into this year and they were already fit and firing and clicking and kind of had their team set. And I don't think that they've gotten worse. I just think that a lot of other teams have fixed some of those issues that they had and maybe caught up a little bit to Auburn. Or am I just overreacting to a situation where they played a really tough Tennessee team and the SEC is just an absolute dogfight every single night?
All right. So I'm a supposed Auburn hater, and I'm telling you, you're overreacting.
Okay.
The fact that Tennessee had to go down there and force their type of game on Auburn, and Auburn still found a way to win, impressed me more than anything else. And Tennessee's style of play takes the crowd out of the equation because they're so physical and they force you to fight and they force you to elbow and they force all this stuff. And every catch is tough when you play Tennessee. Auburn's like, okay, we can play with that game too. And you get a guy back in Johni Broome who we know how good he is. He's not at the best top of his game. He hadn't played in, what, a month? Or 3 weeks? Whatever. And it wasn't an easy sprain either. So for him to come back I thought was huge. A rock fight is the best way to put it. It goes back, them winning at home in a style that's not necessarily their favorite, playing Tennessee's way. Auburn comes out on top. And to me, that says more about Auburn than it does anything else because they can beat you in a grinded out, grubby type of game.
Fair enough.
And that's where I'm at. And Zakai Ziegler, to reference Tennessee real quick, we've worried about them a little bit offensively. We're going to go with Zakai Ziegler. What is he? He's listed at 5'9". I think that might be generous. For him to shoot the game winner, he got a pretty decent look, fine, but that's tough, guys. Somebody else got to shoot that ball at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. Vanna?
Auburn's making the Final Four. I mean, I'll be shocked. They're going to make it. They're making that Final Four as long as they stay healthy. And you can cold takes expose me, whatever the heck you want to say. Here's the deal. They shot as poorly as they will shoot the entire season by a significant margin. They made 3 of 20 from 3 on their home floor. Terrence and you, Rob, but T.O., you've seen this. You were on a team at a high level, at a high major level. The first game with the previously injured player back is a weird game.
Yes.
It could just be a weird game because you're becoming accustomed to how you're playing again and how you were playing with him. Nothing's going to look exactly the same. And so as a result, I mean, look, any game against Tennessee can take on that life. Anytime you play Rick Barnes, it's going to take on that life. And I think Rick Barnes genuinely coming off last Saturday in the loss to, out at Vandy, that was, by the way, shout out to the Commodores. I mean, wow.
Wow.
Very, 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 very.
They're not going to have any NIL left for next year, but wow.
They're ranked. They're ranked.
I know.
They are ranked in the top 25. That is absurd that they are ranked. To me, though, this Auburn team late in the game to find a way to still win the ball game the way that they did. I mean, what a shot by Kelly. And I'm in agreement with Rob and Tio. I'm in agreement with you, Rob, on this. That was the perfect place for College Game Day on the ESPN side to start their season for you guys to go to as well. That atmosphere and the game day atmosphere is better than that of some of the atmospheres I've seen at some blue blood schools for game day when they're in town. So my message to our network, anybody that's doing shows and things like that, would be find the gems. Don't always take the easy route of we're going to go to Kansas, we're going to go to Duke. It's not nothing to take away from, but find the gem buildings in this sport that
100%.
are producing those types of atmospheres. I'm going to tell you right now, okay, the loudest building on Saturday will not end up being for Carolina and Duke, even though I know it's different. I know, but Carolina's not good.
Yeah.
They're not a particularly good team. The loudest atmosphere that a game day and that people, like us, we haven't gone out there because it's a long trip. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, Saturday night at 8 Eastern time when UConn is there. People don't realize it, but it's going to be. That place is going to be unbelievable. Terrence, you know it because you've been in there. It's for a big time opponent, it's going to be freaking nuts. So my credit is to Bruce Pearl. Bruce Pearl, how's he done it? He's a human. He goes up to people. He shakes hands. He tells people hello. He's awesome for the sport. So is Auburn. They're going to the Final Four.
So you know what I was told down there? I was told that he, if he goes and he meets people when he's out, he just gives random fans his number. And they're just yeah, if you need anything, just hit me up and shoot me a text. So I guess he's always he's just always getting text messages coming.
Hey, hold on. That's his secretary's number.
It might. Hey, look,
there's no way.
It might be, but that's the story that I was told, and I'm sticking to it, Terrence.
There's no way.
All right, let's move on because there are a couple other ones I want to touch on in the SEC here. Let's start with this. Is Mark Sears okay? I don't know. I'm sure you guys saw this, but at the end of the Alabama game in the second half, he was bad in the first half. I think he was 0 for 5 scoreless, had a couple turnovers, was being more like the facilitator, and Alabama struggled in the first half. He gets benched in the second half. I don't know what happened in the locker room. I have not heard from anybody on that staff that it was anything significant that happened in the locker room, but it kind of makes you wonder when he doesn't come back off the bench. There's at one point in the second half, about 11 minutes left, the cameras caught him crying on the bench, right? And it's not the first time that we've seen him spend the second half of a game sitting on the bench. We were told it was voluntary against Illinois. I'm going to go ahead and assume and believe that, and assume that we were being told the truth there. But I just wonder if it seems like there is a little bit of a disconnect there between Nate Oates and Mark Sears in terms of what Nate Oates wants and what Mark Sears is providing. So, Tio, I'm going to ask you this. You've coached, you've played, you kind of know how some of these relationships work. Are you worried about that? Is this something where Nate Oates is trying to take a hard line with how he's coaching? And when you do that to your best player, how much do you risk? I don't know if alienating is the right word, but if you're doing that at the end of January, there's 10 games left in the regular season, then we got the games that really count, man. I feel like
hold on. I want to stop that phrasing right there. Every game in college counts.
Okay.
Every single freaking game. Sorry,
right.
Go ahead. I don't want that. I don't want that stigma March, like the NBA playoffs. That's not the case in college. Every game counts.
You know what?
Teams lose.
You needed to correct me on that one because we corrected you on saying that teams shouldn't play anybody good early on in the season. So you're right. I will take that L. T.O., thank you for correcting me.
You're welcome. And thank you, John Fanta, for correcting us on Milos Uzan.
Yes.
Is that right?
A lot of corrections. We need a corrections corner.
Hey, you know what? That's the great thing about this podcast. We hold each other accountable.
Absolutely. And Pat Kelsey held you accountable.
Yes, he did. What did he do?
Yeah, you didn't watch the clip, remember? I asked him, I said, what do you subscribe to playing hard teams early? But Terrence, according to you, it sounds like the staff was saying a different message earlier in the season.
Yeah. They were telling me a little something different, like, holy shit, what are we doing?
Come on.
Hey, in retrospect, sure, but they were telling me something different when it happened.
Sloman.
That was an ass whooping.
All right, go ahead. Mark Sears, sorry.
He's just getting outplayed. He's getting beaten out. Like, if you can't give it, you load up your rosters because of this situation. If you're not playing well, somebody else on the bench is playing well, that guy's going to play. And Mark Sears is a fantastic player, but there's going to be times where you go 0 for 5. Aiden Holloway is going to be better on that particular night. And it's not saying that you're bad at anything. It's just saying that guy's really good. And I think it has more to do with that than anything else. He just has different options on that team that he can go to when somebody doesn't play well. It was interesting. I talked to Billy Donovan, not this year, it was last season. And he's like, you know what? We have a lot of talented young people on our team. And sometimes you're not doing anything wrong. It's just this guy's doing something so good, I can't take him off the floor. Mm-hmm. Like, am I going to bench this guy because you're doing am I going to bench DeMar DeRozan, who was there at the time? Am I going to bench him in order to play you? Well, no, because we're paying that guy $200, something odd $1 million. Not the same in college. However, if you get outplayed and you're not playing well, that's why you load up your roster 10, 11 deep. So you don't play well, you get to sit. Next game, you probably start again. You'll be fine. To me, it's a non-issue. You get outplayed, you don't play.
I think Mark Sears is an older guy too. I just, you wonder if there's any, I don't want to be too quick to judge a player if there's other stuff that's going on that we don't know about. It's always hard, but like getting that emotional over not playing, Nate Oates is out there to win. And let's face it, it was a single-digit game with LSU. So I'm not sure what's going on other than, I think Mark is very passionate about winning and passionate about the game, but this Alabama team has all-stars on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to get outplayed by them. I'd like to think it's a good thing in the long run. I guess I'd rather have a player getting overly emotional than not emotional at all.
100%.
You both know what it looks like when a player checks out. I'm not overly worried. I think he's going to have his March moments. I wouldn't hit the panic button. I just think I think Nate's hard to play for too, in a good way. Like, I think Nate is demanding of his guys. I think he's easy to play for from the respect of you're going to win, but I don't think anybody could play for Nate Oates. That's the standard he's developed.
Mm-hmm. And my guess is that it's as much of anything, it's like, I need you to be this guy and not just someone that sets the table for everyone else and whatever it is. And I'm sure that they were probably.
Hey man, it's a hard balance too. Like,
yes,
when you get benched, it's a hard balance of like being supportive and all that stuff. Like, because you're so trained to focus on what can I do to control myself on the floor. And it's like, you want to be great for your team, but you also want to stay locked in. And then that opportunity doesn't come. Like, as a player, that's hard. And I've been there. That's really, really hard. And I'm not sure. I'm curious if something happened in the locker room, because guys don't just break down and cry. He's faced a lot of pressure, preseason National Player of the Year conversations, first team All-America preseason conversations, and it's hard. So, and then he's got all these other pieces coming into the fold. And like, you want to balance your self-accomplishment with also helping the team win. And sometimes those things get convoluted a little bit.
Yep. And, when for me, the biggest thing is I don't think that Alabama can reach their ceiling without Mark Sears playing the right way, the way that Nate Oates needs them to play. And if this is the way to kind of reinforce that, then, as long as you have a good enough relationship with Mark and his family to be able to say, look, sometimes you gotta have the tough conversations, and it'll be all right.
Like Aiden Holloway went for 19. LeBaron Philon went for 11. He didn't have a great night, but like, maybe they're just providing something different.
Yep.
Like, I just think that's what it is. I don't see this as a huge deal.
Yep. All right. Vanderbilt. One person in the chat, Fanta, said that Field of 68 needs to come down to Memorial Coliseum. You guys,
it's awesome.
Guys, keep winning. We'll go. Stop rushing the court. You've cost your program $750,000 now.
Keep rushing it.
Yeah. Look, $750,000.
Cornelius Vanderbilt's got bread, okay?
You
Cornelius Vanderbilt's got bread. If you want to rush
true.
court, take your happy ass up on that court.
That's true. Vanderbilt beat Kentucky 74-69. Second straight Saturday. They've had a win over a top 10 team. My take on After Dark on Saturday night was that this says more about Vanderbilt than it does about Kentucky. Some bad decisions from Lamont Butler down the stretch. Second straight game, he's had some issues. I think that they needed that backup point guard. They need Kirk Grayson to come back. No Andrew Carr, obviously, but Fanta, did this win? I think this win said more about Vanderbilt than it did about any issues that Kentucky has. Vanderbilt's for real, man. They're good.
Well, when you upset Tennessee, and then the following Saturday you beat Kentucky after you really got drubbed by Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something. Mark Byington was a fantastic hire. I mean, fantastic. Like, for where Vandy was as a program coming off stack, the job a good job in its league? Let's face it, it's not. Any SEC job's a good job, right, in today's climate. But that is a bottom 3 job in that league. It is, when you look at the quality of programs. Where they were, now T.O.'s right. You start to win, you go to some dinners over there. That's a very,
They love hoop, man. You win at Vanderbilt, they love it.
Lucrative part of town. And oh, by the way, last I checked, if you win in basketball, you are king there, because the football program ain't writing home about anything here right now. So
Correct.
You can win in basketball, you're going to be here. You know, you're gonna rise up. Now football had a good year as well, but I'm just saying, I saw them down in Charleston, and I thought a couple of things. One, they played smart, they played hard, and they had the right players.
Yeah.
So, keep rushing the floor. I mean,
like you said, they got a lot of money. TK says, keep rushing. All right, Vanderbilt fans, you have my permission. Get the floor. Let's get that $1 million fine. We've never seen one in the SEC. Get on that floor.
They bring in Jason Edwards from North Texas.
Stud.
They bring in Devin McLaughlin from Boston College, one of a couple Boston College transfers who's gone on to brighter days. They bring in Tyler Nickel from Virginia Tech. And Tyler Nickel, when he starts to make some shots, oh boy, get out of the way. I mean, he can get hot in a hurry. I saw him in Charleston have like 23 points and a half. And they've just got the right blend of players. They brought in Jalen Carey. They bring him from James Madison. Mark won at JMU. And won at a very high level. They ran Wisconsin off the floor in the NCAA tournament. It was non-competitive in the game. His team plays the right way. He's an expert coach. I hope he stays at Vandy as long as possible, because I think he could be the coach at a big-time place one day. Mm-hmm. I'm serious. I'm not kidding you. I think if North Carolina opens in 2 or 3 years, Mark Byington could be on the list. That's how highly I think. What's that?
Was he ever on staff there? Did he ever play there? Are they going to go out the family? Like,
they got to. They have to. That's a whole other conversation
for a different day. But
the point is, for this show, congrats to the Commodores. Your rise is refreshing. You're going to make the NCAA tournament, and it's really cool, man.
Congrats to the Commodores, and I'm going to try to get your coach to another job.
Hey, man, that's not a job where you just leave flippantly. I'm telling you, you get Vanderbilt going, it's a unique atmosphere. It's a highly academic institution. They will bend a little bit to get certain guys in. It's the reputation. The city of Nashville is awesome.
Maybe we have
that
to go.
Floor, the arena, guys. I don't know if you've been there, but I was recruited at Vanderbilt quite a bit. I actually thought I was going to go to Vanderbilt for a long time. Like,
then you realize they had standards for what kind of student you were going to be, and you're like,
I was a good student. Hey, don't. Let's not do that now. We can bring up GPAs. Doesn't bother me a bit now. Hey, but no, I thought I was going to go to Vanderbilt. That place is incredible. They will pay for basketball. The Fighting Will Purdue's. I mean, like, they're going to keep they're going to keep rolling it out, and it's a really cool atmosphere that you can sell because you're the big man on campus if you win games.
Yeah.
So, and you're one of two schools in that conference where you are the sport if you win games. Kansas, Vanderbilt.
Yeah, what people forget is that like there was a while where Kevin Stallings had that thing
He was
absolutely rolling. I think it was 5 tournaments in 6 years, made a Sweet 16. Like we're talking like 3, 4, 5 seeds.
Yeah.
Now, next
John
5
Jenkins,
games,
right? Jeffrey Taylor, like he was
Jeff
he was a dog, man.
Swedish Jeff Taylor.
Yeah, of course you know that. Of
Yep.
course you absolutely know that.
I'll tell you what, Tuesday, Feb 11. I think you're in Kentucky, Rob.
Oh yeah.
But that night, Vanderbilt has Auburn at home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Better get on that floor, baby. You win it, you get on that floor, get that $1 million fine. This isn't really like a hot take. I was thinking about this talking to one of the Tennessee assistants, and he was saying he was just talking about how physical it is every night in that conference, and it got me to thinking. Right? Do you remember how we said that about the Big 12, T.O.? Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when the Big 12 was absolutely at its peak, when we were talking like 12 teams were all in like the top 50 in KenPom. The physicality, the defense, the turnovers that they tried to force, the style that you tried to play there. I think that's the SEC now. And watching it in person in Auburn, like you could have called a foul on every single possession, and there were blatant no calls on both sides of the ball. And I feel like that's a nightly occurrence in this conference. Like you better bring your big boy pants. You better if you're going to go play in that league, you better hit the weight room. It is no joke.
I think the variance of how you can play, because when you go up to Kentucky, you might have to score 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to go to Tennessee and you got to win in the 50s. Like that's what makes it hard to me. It is physical. Don't get me wrong, but the variance of the league, Florida's going to score 100. Kentucky's going to score 100. Tennessee can't score 100 with a pencil, but they're going to force you to play their way. That's what's the hard part, for that league for me, because you have to be so well-rounded. Hey, by the way, we're not giving enough credit real quick on Vanderbilt. Tyler Tanner, 6 foot, maybe. I mean, he's first in the country in turnover rate for a point guard. He's I think third in the country in steal rate. You want to talk about a point guard's point guard? He's of the Darius Garland camp, kind of came from that same area in Brentwood. Like, they have a backup guard they can go to that's not going to turn it over, that's going to set his guys up. And if he's not in the all-freshman conversation in the SEC, somebody needs to reevaluate, because that dude has been incredible.
Yep. All right. We'll end it with this last overreaction here. Saturday was the most important performance that we've seen from Cooper Flagg so far this year. They go on the road. You're up by 13 at Wake Forest. You come out in the second half, a place where Wake has picked off a lot of big dogs in the past. You're playing a game that looks like it's being broadcast in 1974. Everything is yellow in there. I said that I felt watching the game I was becoming jaundiced, and everybody else on Duke was horrific for the first 14 minutes of that half. I think they were over 17 from the floor, and then Cooper Flagg was the only guy that made a shot in the first 14 minutes. Put that team on his back. They went to just ISO ball. They went to let's give it to Cooper, let him go take this thing home. They were down by as many as, I believe, 7 in the second half after leading by 13 at halftime. He finished with 24 points, 6 boards, 7 assists on a night where Tyrese Proctor didn't have it. In the second half where Conker Nipple didn't have it. I think he made 2 huge jumpers to give him the lead or tie the game, take the lead, and then put the game away with a dime to Mason Gillis in the corner. That, to me, was everything about why Cooper Flagg is as good as he is, why he's in that player of the year conversation, and why Duke right now, I think, is probably looking like the favorite to win the national championship.
They're right there. I mean, if they should be favored to win it with Auburn, equally still. But man, they absolutely have earned that. And I think it's hard to know a little bit how dominant they could be in the NCAA tournament, how great they could be in that. Like, are they going to be up until the Final Four like UConn type numbers of winning games by 15 to 20 because Cooper Flagg's just that damn good? It's a little hard to know because of the ACC. Are they just right now? They have a Gonzaga like really good Gonzaga, against WCC, against the ACC. I mean, Wake Forest is better than 73 in KenPom. That's a bunch of baloney.
Yes.
Wake Forest is a good team, but John Shire, I think that this is my takeaway on this, and this intrigues me. Here you have John Shire in year 3 at the helm, right? year one. He goes to Sweet 16, right, and then loses. Is that correct?
Year one, they lost in the second round.
That's right.
Second round, Elite Eight in this year.
That was the Filipowski year, Derek Lively.
So second round, Elite Eight last year.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the time is for a Final Four here in year three, which the Duke job is harsh and hard because you're the Duke coach. Yeah, I mean you have to go.
Yeah, you have to be that good.
You have to be that good.
Yeah,
but it does intrigue me too in a world where over in Chapel Hill, like things are going the way that they are, and here, Jon Scheyer, we were all wondering. Is this going to be absolutely correct? Is he the guy? Not that we were wondering heading into this year, but we were kind of like, look, this has to work out. It's working out tremendously.
Yeah.
The Cooper Flagg experience is working out so well. There was no way he was going to fail. He's absolutely the number one pick. It's amazing. I am really intrigued to see now. Think about this. John is 37. He's 37. I'm not saying that he'll do this, but the fact is the guy could coach at Duke for 40 years if he wanted to. If he wanted to.
I always forget how young he is, Fanta. Like, he's a child.
Right. So I'm saying, like, big picture in the sport, is it not intriguing? I think it's a story. Mm-hmm. If at 37, and I think, to an extent, he should make the Elite Eight with the team he's got. Like, I love their team. If he makes a Final Four, I think that's chock full of buzz in the sport. It's better for college hoops when Duke is on that level. The machine is starting to roll, and it's only going to keep rolling further if Duke takes care of business Saturday night, because Duke Carolina still matters nationally. I just think Scheyer going to the zone in the second half and his team would play one possession of it all year. I love that story. I love when a coach says, I'm not going to be stubborn. I'm going to change things up. And it worked. What am I supposed to say to that comment?
I don't know. Go ahead, Tio.
What did he say? I didn't see it. I have it covered.
Sole T. Gray said booty cheeks. I mean, I don't.
He must not like Duke.
Hey, shout out to Solo T. Gray. Just real quick. Johni Broome is awesome. Every single person on this panel right now absolutely adores Johni Broome. Saying nice things about Cooper Flagg in no way has any impact on the way that we feel about Johni Broome. He is awesome. I can't wait for him to get healthy because he did not look like he was 100% on Saturday night.
I don't give a shit what Solo T. Gray has to say. I've already talked about Auburn. Here's the thing with Duke. They are so good. They've got a game at Clemson. They're playing North Carolina at home, which they're just, like Fanta said, like North Carolina, they're just kind of middle of the pack ACC this year. The game at Clemson. And then, guys, like I'm looking up and down, they got Illinois on a neutral February 22nd. I don't see where outside that Clemson game, Illinois, and then they got Wake Forest at home. I don't see where they trip up. I think Duke's going to be the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament. I think they make it to the Final Four. I think what they've done is incredible. And small point here, what Coach K did with his little tour did more for Jon Scheyer than it did for Coach K. And we know Coach K loves some Coach K. Mm-hmm. But him telling the recruits more specifically, this is the guy that you're going to play for. I'm going to let him recruit you so he can coach you. That did more favors than anything else. People look at it like, well, it was a selfless play for Roy not to say anything, just to retire. Well, it kind of screwed Hubert. So it's like, if you know what you're doing next, go ahead and announce, and then let the next guy recruit for himself while you're there. And it makes it really helps alleviate that 1 or 2 year lull where he's dealing with somebody else's players.
Yep, for sure. Listen, guys, this was fun. We're gonna cut this thing off here. When you get to this point of the season, all of us are running around, right? All of us have travel. All of us. It's difficult to find a time where we can. You see where Fanta is right now. It's difficult to find a time to be able to lock into podcasts sometimes. So one, I do appreciate you guys jumping on here. And two, this is always my favorite hour or 45 minutes or an hour, 20 minutes, whatever it is. This is my favorite time of the week, is finding a time to get together with these two freaking idiots and to be able to lock in and just talk about whatever, man. Because sometimes we talk about hoops, sometimes we talk about booty cheeks. Sometimes we talk about.
I'm not talking about booty cheeks on this podcast with you guys.
I got a big prediction to lead to end. We
Okay.
appreciate you too, Rob. Thank you for putting up with us. Arizona tonight, Tucson on fire. Give me Tommy Lloyd's team over Iowa State.
Ooh, I don't know, man.
I like
Curtis
it.
Jones back-to-back 30 burgers. That's my prediction. Shout out to Curtis Jones. They
have multiple All-Americans.
Yeah,
they have 2 All-American candidates in Gilbert and Jones.
Yeah, and Taman Lipsey might actually be their best player. That team is.
Give me the Cats tonight, though. I'm going to take Arizona at home. Arizona at home.
Fair enough. T.O., safe travels, my friend. Please don't get stuck in an airport. We know you have a yeah. And look, I just make sure you're at your flight on time. Okay, I don't need to see any text messages saying I got to sprint to the airport. We saw what happened to SVP. I don't want pictures of someone taking pictures.
That ain't gonna happen to me.
There. Oh, I can't believe I missed.
Don't do that.
No.
UConn stay ranked. UConn's still in the top 25.
That's a
Shouldn't
miracle.
be the case.
It's a miracle. And you know what I love though? I love how mad everyone's going to get about it. All right. For Terrence Oglesby, for John Fanta, we'll see you guys again on next Monday for more DTF